Good morning. My name is Baba Anthony, and I am with Okanran Sode Temple in Miami, Florida. Thank you for joining us today for another Ifa Temple service. Let us get started as we normally do with our morning prayers. Alolo me, cool piece of water, pure tranquil water. This was the Ifa cast for Rumila when he's going to take Olomi Tutu, and of cool water is his wife. Ifa says it's taboo. Eri Yellow will never allow Olomi Tutu die cruel cheat death. Olomi Tutu and death have entered into a covenant. Ashe. Cool roads, cool home, cool eshu. Ashe, 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 cool ori. Ashe. Ibashe akamara. Ibashe Olodumare Obaterekaye. Ibashe to all the Ramon on the right hand side of Olodumare. Ibashe to all of the Ramon on the left hand side of Olodumare. Ibashe to Orumila Lady Ife. Ibashe to Eshu. Ibashe to Obatala. Ibashe to my Lure. Ibashe to my Oyuzmona. Ibashe to my Baba Ifa. Ibashe to all of the elders who have supported me on my journey in Ifa. Ibashe to my mother. Ibashe to my father. Ibashe to my wife. Ibashe to my children. Ibashe to all my brothers and sisters in Ifa and Orisha practice. Ogunda one rain, the ocean is filled to the brim, lagoon is filled to capacity, our sons going to our sons, our sons going to our sons, the owl is the top of the rock. The elders thought over the matter and realized it was no longer favorable. They used their mustache to cover their faces and spread their beard firmly across their chest. These were the decorations of Ifa to add to the head of every oracle and Ile. What is one Sheshe? Olodumare is one Sheshe. It is the Sheshe we have to be for pleasing in your Risha. One is one Sheshe. It is the Sheshe we have to be for pleasing in your Risha. One's mother is one Sheshe. It is the Sheshe we have to be for pleasing in your Risha. One's father is one Sheshe. It is the Sheshe we have to be for pleasing in your Risha. Male organs. Female organs one Sheshe. It is the Sheshe we have to be for pleasing in your Risha. Please let us appease the Sheshe. It is the Sheshe we have to be for pleasing in your Risha. The Sheshe's father is always Tutu. It is the Sheshe we have to be for pleasing in your Risha. The Sheshe of our mother's lineage, the Sheshe of our father's lineage. May they have a say and support us in all that we do. It is the Sheshe with the peace before pleasing in your Risha. Ashe. Oh, Sheshe. Orumila says, let us be thankful. I say we need to be thankful. They ask the rats, fish, birds, and beasts to be thankful. They all ask why. Orumila responded because of the food is feeding and drinking, which you all enjoy. The vast fish, birds, and beasts said there was no need to be thankful. Consequences of this attitude leads to the glorious death of the rats, fish, birds, and beasts. Orumila says, let us be thankful. I said we need to be thankful. They ask the human beings to be thankful. The human beings ask why. Orumila responded because the food is feeding and drinking which the human beings enjoy. Human beings. It was only the human beings that said there was a need to be thankful. Ifa, I have come to show my gratitude. If one has shown benevolence, then we must show gratitude. Ifa, I have come to show my gratitude. Awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe o, awa bure, adupe anao ao bore, sori bo olodumare, awa dupe, awa bure, awa dupe o, awa bure. Adupe anao ao bore tori bo orie awadupe awabure awadupe o awabure adupe anao ao bore tori bo ewumole awadupe awabure awadupe o awabure adupe anao boy toribo lebulosa show erosoni tutu pound again without soup can be difficult to consume. This was the Ifa cast for a tutu, child of a Bani Negum. He whose attitude was not acceptable, he who was full of bad character, he whose attitude had prevented him from coming to Ifa's domain, Now we come to beg on behalf of Ututu. We come to solicit on behalf of Ututu. Father, please be patient and forgive this provocation. We come to beg on behalf of Ututu. Oromila responded, if those who come to beg on behalf of Ututu, those who come to solicit on behalf of Ututu, how many children does Ifa have that he would cast one out? Those who come to beg on behalf of Ututu, Ofumeji, Hepa, Odu, the king who molds human beings, the king who molds human destiny, the king who supports and assists human beings, the king who molds human character, the king who molds human beings is the name given to Orishanla, the king who molds human destiny is the name given to Orumila, the king who supports and assists human beings is the name given to Wanzori, the king who molds human character is the name given to Olodumare. Orangu Meji, I call on you by your formula, which is known as Hepa Odu. You are the ones who help in organizing one's life to be fruitful. You are the ones who help in organizing one's life to be rewarding. Please come and help me organize my life, for it to be blessed with wealth, for it to be blessed with children, for it to be blessed with all the array of life. It is impossible to see the depth of the sea. Do not let people see evil in me. Do not let me be disgraced. It is impossible to see the depth of the river. All what I do not let people dig up evil in me. All I do make you, I call on you by your formula, which is known as Hefa Odu. Please let my matters be fruitful and rewarding. Ashe. Ashe Torah. Tiny on the feet of Tubu, strive with millions, not big enough to be used as headgear. Had been enough to use this headgear, I've taken home and adorned my head with it. This was the E5 cast for Awude Lao, and we're going on a spiritual mission to EJ Bullman. We call on the locust being someone and pay her money. We call on Awude Lao with respect in EJ Bullman. Ashe Torah. Kekane Bagisa. The act which strikes the tree is the one who cast Ifa for Rumila, who's going to receive Iba and Ashe from Olodumare. If an owl says that we shall be wealthy, we shall surely be wealthy. Akekene Bagisa. In the mouth of the owl resides Iba and Ashe. In the mouth of the owl, if the owl says that we shall meet a good spouse, we shall certainly meet a good spouse. Akekene Bagisa. In the mouth of an owl resides Iba and Ashe. In the mouth of an owl. If an owl says that we shall have good children, we shall certainly have good children. Akekene Bagisa. In the mouth of an owl resides Ibanashe. In the mouth of an owl, if an owl says that we shall have all the array of life, we shall certainly have all the array of life. Akekene Bagisa. In the mouth of an owl resides Ibanashe. In the mouth of an owl, Ashe. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá máa ń wí o, èrò mọ̀lẹ́ ọba, Ifá ọba o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Gbogbo tí mo bá máa ń wí o, èrò mọ̀lẹ́ ọba, Ifá ọba o, Ashe Orisha lẹ́nu mi. Let the Ashe of Orisha manifest in my mouth. Let the Ashe of Orisha manifest in my mouth. All what I do and I say, please Ifa, let the Ashe of Orisha manifest in my mouth. Bimo duo, bimo sure, bimo be, bimo sure, bimo mule, bimo sure. Timo Joko, Timo Sure, Ere Timo Suori Tibo. If I stand up and pray, if I kneel down and pray, if I lay down and pray, if I sit down and pray, Ifa will hear all my Ori. Ifa, my Ori, will hear all the prayers that I say. Let us hold our Ori this morning. Ori eni laure eni ori eni laure eni moji lo wuro mofo mori ori eni laure eni ori eni laure eni ori eni laure eni moji lo wuro mofo mori ori eni laure eni. One's Oris, one's charms for all success, one's Oris, one's charms for all success. When I wake up in the morning, I hold my Ori, one's Oris, one's charms for all success. Bobo Ireitasu Ifa Oba Oloru Atibajadu Ifa Oba Oloru Oshe awo ela efati bon. Ashe. Ifa, we've done our morning prayers this morning. I'm asking for your God protections and blessings for myself and for all those that are listening. We're asking that you remove death, you remove sickness, you remove litigation, you remove loss, you remove contention, you remove all Ayewa from our lives. You guide and protect and bless us to bring in long life, good spouse, good children, wealth, all you ray and complete abundance. Good morning again, and welcome to our Ifa Temple service. My name is Baba Anthony, and I am an Awol with Okanranso Day Temple in Miami, Florida. Today's Ifa Temple service topic is I am an Ifa devotee. Being an Ifa devotee has taught me a lot. It has given me a lot of very important life lessons. Culturally, it has given me connection or ties to West Africa. It has given me guidance on day-to-day issues, grand issues. It's given me guidance on larger life issues, right? It has given me a connection to a system of elders and mentors who have helped me grow as a person. And so Ifa to me is grand. A lot of people may see it as maybe just another religion or just another spiritual practice. But to me, Ifa is greater than that. Ifa provides lessons about everything that we could approach in life, right? And so to me, Ifa is much more of just either a religion or a spiritual practice. It is a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle of understanding how to live our lives better. Ashe. Today, it is my hope that those of you that are watching will try to find a way, or at least understand how Ifa can help give you guidance in your life, right? And how can Orunmila support you on your journey. So let us start with the Odu of Ewori Meji. Ewori Meji. The person whom we follow out is whom we ought to return home with. The person who a dog accompanies out is whom the dog ought to return home with. These were Ifa's declarations to Eleji Ewori, who shall take an intense but benevolent look at his akapo. He was advised to offer Ebo. I've shared this story before, and this story is about a priest named Eleji Ewori. And Eleji Ewori's mission was given to him before he was born to come and live this life. He was in Orun, or heaven as we say, and he was given the responsibility to come down and delegate blessings to people. He was given the responsibility to come down and offer support for those who had considered themselves Ifa devotees. Now, when Eleji Ewori came to see all of the different humans around the world and how he would bless them, he thought to himself, oh my goodness, there's so many people here, so many people doing good, so many devotees out there, so many who want the world to be better. How am I supposed to choose who will have all the array or blessings of life? So Eleji Ewori goes back and he goes to a group of Awo and he has Ifa cast. The Bible will tell him, one, don't worry, you're going to be successful in your mission on finding the people that you need to look for and those that you need to bless completely. The Awo also said to him that you need to look for the people who have a certain set of characteristics that they are applying to their life, a way that they live their lives that makes them stand out. Ashe. Eleji Ewori says, okay, what are those? What are the qualifications? What do they need to have in their life that will be important? So the Awos explain, they need to have dedication. They need to have honesty. They need to have hopefulness, and they need to have humility. with those characteristics in their life, they will then be on the pathway of being the people who deserve to have your support and be the people who deserve to have the blessings in life. Eleji says, Ashe. So he offers the abo and he makes his way back to choose and make his selection of the people who deserve the Ire in life. Now, this story is wonderful. And whenever people ask me about why Ifa, what is important about Ifa, why not being a Christian, why not being a Buddhist, whatever it may be. You know, for me, again, as I explained earlier, there's the connection to Africa that's absolutely important to me. And then two, Ifa gives us a blueprint on how we should live our lives. Now, everybody should understand that when we get this information, you know, you're hearing me say this, it's not that we can turn it on and tomorrow, all of a sudden we have dedication, all of a sudden we have honesty, all of a sudden we have hopefulness, all of a sudden we have humility. I wish it were that simple, but it is not. Right? These are lifelong goals for Ifa practitioners. We want to make sure that we apply those things to our lives. We want to make sure that our family applies that to their life. We want to make sure that the people that we associate ourselves with, our friends, our acquaintances, are people who have those things in their lives, right? Ifa says that one, it starts with us. That's where it starts, right? And then we need to make sure that our community, as we reach out, that we're surrounding ourselves with those people so that we can all live with those characteristics together. Now, the wonderful thing is that we can find those characteristics in people of other religions. Absolutely. We can find those characteristics in people who are atheists. That is something that we need to understand. But for us as Ifa devotees, right, we need to make sure that we are applying this to our life. And I find that to be extremely important. So, how am I applying this to my life? Well, it makes me think about the dedication that I apply to my family, the dedication that I apply to my work, and the dedication I'm trying to apply to my studies of Ifa, right? We work on the aspect of being honest with others. We focus on the aspect that hope will always be there, that tomorrow will always be a better day. And we work to control our egos so that we can show humility, right? These are difficult things to do. These are difficult things to do, especially if we lived in contrast to any of those things, right? So those are things that we have to work on, and we must apply them to our lives if we want the support of Ifa. Ashe. So let us go to another Odu and another message from Iwori Meiji. Let us go to another message from Iwori Meiji. Orunmila declares that it is time to rest peacefully. I respond that all evil principalities must disperse. Orunmila cautions that all water throwers throw away water with care and consideration, lest they wet an important visitor. I ask, what type of visitor is Orunmila referring to? He responds that it is Ajay. Well, I asked, what other type of visitor? It is Aya, spouse. What other type of visitor? It is Omo, children. What other type of visitor is there? It is Oye, chieftaincy title. I ask, what other type of visitor? It is Obo, longevity. I ask, what other type of visitor? He responds that it is the visiting Ire. Before long, not too far, join us in the midst of Ire. So here we have a story where Orunmila decides to call all of his disciples and students together. And so, for those of you just joining us and you don't know, Orunmila is the prophet of Ifa. The Christians have Jesus Christ, and we have Orunmila. Orunmila is our prophet. So Orunmila calls all his disciples together, and he wanted to give them a lecture on how they needed to treat visitors and how they needed to treat strangers with respect, and showing them hospitality. This was important because, as Orunmila had said, all good awos, all good students of Ifa must never mistreat anyone, because we won't know how important they will be to us in the future. He warned them that all of these visitors who had come before in their lives, right? Anybody who we knew before, they essentially were strangers. He emphasized that the more respected humility that we show towards people, the more blessing we would receive from Olodumare and from Ifa. So Orunmila tells all of his disciples to go home and offer a specific ebo. Of course, the disciples had questions. They wanted to know, Orunmila, but why? Why must we offer this ebo when you're asking us to think about strangers or people who we might meet in the future? What would we gain from this? Orunmila told them that all good things in our lives came from strangers. They took a step back and, okay, Orunmila, what do you mean by that? Well, Orunmila says, the way that we treat them would determine how their response would be to us. A spouse, someone that we would marry in the future, began as a stranger. We need to study all aspects of each other's lives before we commit to marrying someone. Ifa says the wealth that we hope to have, or if that we have at one point, was a stranger to us. So we need to treat that wealth with absolute respect. We cannot take the wealth for granted. Orunmila says the children that we hope to have, or the children that we have now, began as strangers. We had to know or learn how to know who these young people are and how to raise them and how to give them what they needed. We had to take our time. Much of all of this is guesswork, right? Nothing is written out for us how to take care of your children. Ifa says anything that comes into our lives as a blessing will begin as a stranger. The disciples said, Ashe. They all complied with the advice of Orunmila, and they offered their ebo. In no time, all of the blessings came to stay with the Awo, and they treated them well. The Awo became wealthy. The Awo had good spouses. The Awo had good children. They were honored with titles, and they lived a life with purpose and comfort. They were happy and singing the joy of Orunmila. Ashe. So this to me is such an interesting story. Such an interesting story. I think back to when I was younger. And, nobody's perfect. We live our lives the way that we live our lives. But if you think back to when we were younger, and because you didn't feel like talking to someone, you would ignore the person. Or because you were in a bad mood, you would ignore the person. Right? Maybe you met someone at school who is trying to offer you an opportunity. And because the way that you treated them, they were like, you know what? I tried to work with them a little. I met them way back then. They weren't so kind to me. And so that opportunity is lost. We have so many different ways that blessings can come into our lives. So many different ways. And they all begin as strangers to us. And Orunmila lets us know that since everything is a stranger before we get to know them, that we must treat them with respect. Our spouses, our children, the honors that we're given, the home that we hope to someday acquire, the vehicles that we hope to own, the jobs that we hope to have. We must always treat them with respect because we do not know what opportunities they will bring or what blessings they will bring to our life. That is such an important lesson for Ifa followers, right? I do my best to practice that. I do my best to try to have conversations, to try to say hello to people that I meet. The world is such a different place from when I was a child. It was easy to go out, meet friends. At least that's what I thought when I was young. It was easy to go out, meet friends, spend a whole day out hanging out with new people. But today, as an adult, you know so much more about the world and you have so many more concerns. Sometimes we're less willing to take chances on those different strangers, right? But Orunmila says, as long as we treat them with respect, we will see those erased blessings coming into our lives. So we should all think about that, right? We must show love and not show anger, which leads me into the next verse of Ifa from the Odu of Oshe Osa. Ose Osa. Friendship is good. Quarreling is not. After quarreling, the friendship will be destroyed. These were Ifa's declarations to Oso, their offspring in the land of Ake. He complied. Whose Vasta for a bow, he complied. Love is the most important. Let us show love to each other. Now, this is applied to, when I think about this particular verse, I work to apply this to all aspects of my relationships, my current relationships with people that are around me. It's difficult because we get busy and it's easy to forget those that are important to us in our lives. But we cannot do that, right? We must take care of our relationships in our home, our relationships outside of our home. We must tend to those, right? Having good relationships create a sense of happiness in our lives. Just yesterday, I had the opportunity to see some alumni students from the job where I am. They came back, said hello, found me at a festival. We all said hello, got to catch up with each other. And I thought to myself, how wonderful. How wonderful to have these young people now growing up become my friends and to learn about their lives and them to learn about mine and my family. How wonderful. I thought about relationships with friends that I've had for almost 25, 30 years. To be able to send a birthday message or just to say, hello, how have you been? How wonderful. Those relationships are what make life important, right? None of us want to live a life of being alone. It is wonderful to have people that care about us. As Ifa says, friendship is good and quarreling is not. So we work on our friendships, we work on our relationships, we develop those in all aspects of life. So important. So let us move to the next Odu. Ogbe Iwori. Ogbe Iwori. Ashe. The blade of grass by the roadside is it that grows by the roadside and shoots outside the road. This was the Ifa cast for Aje. When weeping in lamentation, of the inability to secure a suitable home of her choice, she was advised to offer a bow. Here we have the story of Aje. If you don't know, Aje in our religious practice is referred to as a deity of wealth, a woman who had all aspects in her life figured out in regards to wealth and having things, right? However, she was missing some things. Because Ajay was such a success in her life, she was without a partner because men had a hard time approaching her. They thought, wow, she's too much, she's too strong-willed. She owns her own business. It's almost like they see her as, well, she doesn't need anything from me. She's got everything she needs in life. So people kind of stayed away from Ajay. And they believed that she was not someone they should chase after, right? Because they felt that if they did marry her, they would be overshadowed by her wealth. And that happens today, in today's time, when people meet successful women, when they meet successful women, they sometimes find themselves in a place where they're like, no, I need to have somebody of lower status because she'll be too much for me. This is happening in Ifa. So men stayed away from Ajay. She was a person who owned a market. She had a store. People would respect her, treat her well, and understand her. But they wouldn't try to create a relationship with her, right? And she even thought to herself, I don't really want to be a man's slave. That's kind of how she put it. And she wasn't in search of just any man. She was in search of someone who also had great status, who was intelligent, who was kind, who was considerate, who was accommodating, who was benevolent. Right? She wanted someone who could meet her where she was, but not try to bring her down in any way. So Ajay searched and searched and searched. Even though she had so many different things in her life, so many different items, money, nice house, nice car, all these different things in her life, she still was sad. She would find herself thinking, will I find a spouse? Will I one day have my own children? Will I one day find the happiness that I'm looking for? So she goes to have Ifa cast for her. The Babalawo explains to her, Ajay, you are a beautiful, powerful woman. You have so many successes in your life. You will find the one that you are looking for. But you need to have patience and you need to offer a bow. And very soon your blessings would come. Ajay says, Ashe. So she complies. She offers the offering that she is supposed to. The blade grass by the roadside is it that grows by the roadside and shoots outside the road. This was the Ifa cast for Orunmila when weeping in lamentation for his inability to secure a compatible wife of his choice. He was advised to offer Ebo. Now let's shift gears. Now we have the story of Orunmila. During this time in Orumila's life, many things were going well for him. Many, many things. He had lots of clients. He had a very impressive record. He was able to help people, and people knew that they can trust Orunmila. He was able to find solutions to all of their problems. Day after day, clients were coming to Orunmila morning, afternoon, and night. Orunmila had no time to rest. He had no time to even go to the market to find supplies for all of the ebos that came with all of these clients. This created a little bit of a challenge. Orunmila had students who had came to study Ifa with him. But at one point, all of the students that he had became very knowledgeable Babalaos. They moved on to the point where they were now practicing on their own. And so they were in different places. And so now he had no help. He also had no wife at home who could assist him the way that he needed assistance. People started to complain about Orunmila not getting their work done in time because he was delayed. He found himself alone. He had no students. He had no spouse. Orunmila found himself getting frustrated, as well as his clients. So while Orunmila was thinking about the challenges that he had, he thought about the idea of having his own wife to assist that could work together with him so that they can both be successful. He thought about having a wife who could assist in the market, right? Many women worked in the market in the times of Orunmila. That was their success. They worked, they brought money home, and they supported the home greatly. So Orunmila was looking for a wife that could assist him by getting things done at the market, that could assist him with helping to get his clothing clean, because he was oftentimes found himself dirty. He was working so much he couldn't clean himself, right? There were so many challenges that he wanted to find himself being supported, and so he wasn't having that. So as all great priests do, Orunmila found himself going to the Babalao to have Ifa cast, to see what steps he can take to find success for himself. So the Babalao tell him, Orunmila, your life partner is coming to you very, very soon, Baba. You will find the person that will be supportive of you. You will find the person that will be your equal and will match with you. You will complement each other in life. And when you both complement each other, you both will make each other's lives easier. But the Awo let Orunmila know that it wouldn't be a regular woman. The woman would be someone who was passionate, who was understanding, who was selfless, who was considerate, who was loving and supportive. But Orunmila himself needed to adore and assist her without any conditions. He needed to be supportive of her. Orunmila says, Ashe. So he offers the upvote, and some time goes on. A few days goes by. Orunmila goes to the market to acquire materials. On this same day that he goes into the market, who does he run into? But Ajay. They were at the same market together. They met. They decided they wanted to court each other. And so they spent some time learning about each other's interests, right? Ajay was finding herself um, finding herself very attracted to Orunmila. She liked everything about him, everything he stood for. So she finds herself back in the home of her awos, and she asked, "Is Orunmila the man of my dreams? Will he be the one to make me a happy woman?" Orunmila does the same. He goes to the awos. He asks the same questions. Is Ajay the woman of my dreams? Will Ajay bring me the love that I need in my life? The awos on both sides said yes. This is the partner you have been looking for. Ashe. So they go with happiness back together, and they decide to bring themselves together, bring their families together in marriage. And this was an event for the whole community to see. So when they started to live together, Ajay was very happy because Orunmila would support her, would consult her to help her with all of her financial endeavors. He stood beside her as her pillar of support, guiding her in every way that he could. She, on the other hand, supported Orunmila as best as she could. Now, here was Orunmila. As I mentioned earlier, Orunmila was in a position where he was having trouble going to the market. Well, Ajay was the owner of the market. She had everything that Orunmila needed. So he no longer had to go because most of the items he needed or she would be selling would be in their home. Within no time, new students started to come to find Orunmila to study Ifa. This brought more support to Ajay and Orunmila together. Within no time, Ajay and Orunmila had children. And their children, as they grew, they became a support for Orunmila and Ajay also, right? All of their support started coming, as Ifa had said. Now, this made both of their workloads even lighter. It brought balance to the life of Orunmila and Ajay. Ajay was no longer focused on her financial gain and her status. Orunmila was no longer only focused on his Ifa work and his clients. There was balance because they had assistance. They both grew their families and lived to be extremely happy and satisfied. Ashe. So here is a story of balance. Here is a story of not everything is about money. Not everything is about how many clients I have. Not everything is about the material stuff. In our lives, we need so much more. We have two highly successful people in Ifa, Orunmila and Ajay. And they come together to support each other. They come together to uplift each other. We have to remember all of the things that truly make us happy. Each one of us has different things, right? Each one of us has different things that we need at different times in our life. Not everybody's always looking for a spouse. Not everybody's always looking for children. But hopefully what we all are looking for is balance and happiness. That's my hope for all of us. That's what I hope we're all looking for. Because when we can find that in our lives, things will get better, no matter where you are. If you have that balance and that happiness, things will get better. And so that's what we need to be looking for, right? Let us go to one other area of life where I believe that Ifa has supported me and has guided me, right? We're going to go to the Odu of Irosun Odi. Irosun Odi. Deliciously do we prepare vegetable soup. With extensive varieties do we display beads. These were Ifa's declarations to Orunmila when going to have Wura, pure gold, as his wife. He was advised to offer a bow, he complied. Any Babalao who has extensive knowledge of Ifa, such a Babalao is blessed with pure gold in his stomach. Ashe. So this particular verse of Ifa, I apply it to how I think about my studies. For me, one of my goals in life is to be a well-versed, well-trained Babalao of Ifa, and it takes years of study, right? But let us apply that to anything we do in our life. If we want to be the greatest doctor we can, we need to apply our years of study. If we want to be the greatest lawyer we can, we need to apply many years of study. If we want to be successful in the field of information technology, it requires years of study. If we want to be successful teachers who change people's lives, we need to have years of study. It will never end. I am confident that any field that we are in order to do it to the best of our ability, we need to have a system of continuously growing and continuously getting better. Many of us may be in jobs that we do not like. And if you're one of those people, I encourage you, find the field of study or the field of work that brings you happiness. Because that's important within Ifa. Happiness, balance, all of that stuff needs to happen. So if you're in a position or in a place where you're like, I absolutely hate my job, I can't stand to be here, find something that will make you happy. Now, please understand, I'm not telling you to quit your job today. I'm telling you to make a plan, create a plan to get yourself into the place that you truly want to be in. That is so important because we do not want to spend, a third of our day, right? If we're working 8 hours a day, we don't want to spend a third of our day unhappy. Why? Why do that to yourselves? Right? Direct yourselves to a place of saying, okay, creating a plan, sit down with yourself. What do I really want to do? How can I become successful at this? And how can I develop myself to become great in that field? Those are tough decisions to make. But I believe it's important for all of us to do. Right? So let me bring this all together for you. As I explained, the topic of this talk today is I am an Ifa devotee. And I wanted to share important aspects of how I believe Ifa has helped me grow. Right? Ifa has given me the ability to work on character development. Ifa is teaching me how important it is to treat people who come into my life. Ifa tells me the importance of maintaining friendships and maintaining relationship. Ifa is talking to me about balance and working on the things that matter. Ifa is teaching me about dedication to my chosen area of study. Right? That makes me proud to be an Ifa devotee because Ifa is affecting my life. And that's what I want for everybody. Right? I don't want to tell you that Ifa is for everybody, but whatever you're doing, if you're not an Ifa follower, right, find different ways that whatever is around you is affecting your life and to make you a better person. Because we always need to be working on ourselves. We should never be the same person we were yesterday. We should never be the same person we were a week ago. We should never be the same person we were a year ago, because we are always trying to work on making ourselves better. It is not an easy task. We all go through many, many challenges. We all go through decisions or things that could have gone better, and that's okay. How will you use guidance? How will Ifa guide you if you are an Ifa follower? Because this is what we need to understand. We all have individual journeys, and our individual journeys should be about living the best life that we can. Thank you for joining us today for another Ifa Temple service. I encourage you to please visit Okanran Sode Facebook page. We also have a YouTube channel, which we're now sharing our videos on, as well as an Instagram page. Please reach out, send us a message. We're here in Miami. If you want to be a part of what we are doing, we would love to have you. On March 26th, we are coming together. Temple members are coming together to have an in-person temple service. So if you are in Miami and would like to join us, please, please, please come and join us. We would love to meet you. We'd love to share Ifa with you. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week. Please do not forget, today is the time change. I know I'm dealing with that myself, remembering the time change, but today's the time change where we lose an hour, unfortunately. So please set your clocks accordingly so that you have a wonderful and blessed week. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.